It's Halloween, and you're watching Phenovelnoms. Phenovenom. Do 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 do. Phenovenom. Do 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 do. Phenovenom. Do 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 do. So it's Halloween, so we have to do something that's Halloweeny, right? So I picked one of my favoriteest scary books from when I was a kid called Bunnicula. It's the story of this bunny who goes to live with a family, and they don't know that he's really a vampire. Hello, Bunnicula. If you see the cover, there's a carrot, and it's been drained of all its juice because you sucked the life out of it. That was my inspiration for what I want to make for you today for Halloween. Go read Bunnicula and make my white chicken chili, because red chili, it's red beans and red sauce. We're going to drain all the life's blood out of it, and we're going to make white chicken chili. Okay, you're going to need 4 good-sized chicken breasts. You need about 2 or 3 cloves of garlic and a medium-sized onion. We're going to make our own roasted chili, so I'm going to use 2 chili peppers. We're going to have about a few tablespoons of sour cream, about a cup of chicken broth, salt and pepper, and olive oil. Of course, you need your crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot, that's okay, but you're going to have to cook it low and slow on the stove for a very long time to get the beans to break down, right? But let's make the white chicken chili. Okie dokie, so the first thing you do is put your oven on broil. The other thing I want to mention is don't turn your crock pot on before you put anything in it, because you can crack it and break it, and you don't want to do that. So we're going to leave that off for now. Put that on broil. I'm going to line this pan so you don't have to worry about cleaning it later. And I'll take these chili peppers. Now, these are Anaheim chili peppers. You can pretty much do this with any kind of pepper you like. You could do this with jalapenos. You could do this with poblanos. Those are yummy. We're going to roast these. Yummy. All you need are your 2 chili peppers. You're going to leave them whole. I'm going to put them in their little bed. They're going to lay in there nice and comfy. I'm going to pour just a drizzle of olive oil on those. Let me give them a little massage. Yeah, good job. I'm just going to put those in the oven under my broiler. It's not like a set amount of time. It's probably going to depend on your oven, but you're going to want it to be pretty charred on the outside. So we're going to take that off and we're going to chop them up. Yummy. Next we want to chop the onion and the garlic. And I'm going to get out my pan. Oops. I'm going to start my pan heating up with the olive oil. Just 2 or 3 tablespoons on the bottom. I never realized the importance of a good, sharp, really nice knife. If you can't afford a whole really nice knife set, get one really nice chef's knife, and I promise you it will go a long way. And they may be expensive. They may cost you $50, $60. There are some of them that cost hundreds of dollars, but I promise you will not believe how much easier it is to cut your vegetables. And I just had no idea until I was introduced to the wonderful world of sharp knives. I'm going to dice up this onion. Add the onions to the oil and get those cooking. Garlic. Garlic is one of those things. If you don't like it, don't add it. You could use garlic powder if you want. You don't have to do garlic cloves. I like them because it tastes a little fresher. When you get the freeze-dried garlic, it kind of has a freeze-dried flavor. I heard recently that there's a whole gaggle of people that don't like white food. That's pretty much all we're doing. White beans, and we're doing white garlic, and white onions. I think that's weird. I don't know. You have something like that? If so, you're weird, but that's okay, because we love you anyway. Okay, chop up the garlic. The smaller you chop it, the stronger the flavor. So keep that in mind. And scoop that up. Put that right into our mixture with the onions. Make sure you're sauteing, moving them around. You don't want them to burn. Turn them down to about 2/3 of the way up so you can start cutting your chicken up. Chicken, I usually cut it into just long strips like that, and then chop it. You want about 1-inch pieces. Here's a little tip. So you don't chop your fingers off. When you're chopping something, curl your finger. Don't hold your, like this. Scary. Scary, right? Scary? Not scary. Curl your fingers under so that when you're chopping, there's no way you're gonna chop off one of your digits. Chop those into 1-inch pieces. I like a lot of chicken. My husband likes a lot of chicken. As I always say, if you're vegetarian, you don't have to put chicken in it. It could just be a wonderful, just like garlic bean stew. It would be so good. You could even put make a soup out of this and just put like less beans and a little more of the broth, and you could have a wonderful garlic bean soup. And it seems like a lot, but they get smaller when they cook. So. And the juice from the chicken that cooks off is going to really add a lot of flavor to your beans. Put the chicken in there with my onions that are cooking. Turning the chicken with the onions and the garlic so it all kind of gets coated. You could actually cook this chicken in the beans, like you could put it in raw, and it'll still taste really good, but it won't have that caramelized color on it, and it has an extra little yummy flavor when it's cooked in the olive oil. You want to kind of spread it out so it's just like in one layer on the bottom of the pan, and let it sit. Don't touch it for like a couple minutes. And while that's doing that, I can clean up. Okay, so we want to check out our chilies, make sure they're not like burned to heck. They're pretty good. See how they're getting that char on them? We want it to be like that all over. Don't worry, burned is okay because we're gonna take that stuff off. When the chicken's cooked, the white will kind of start to spread up to the top. That's when you want to like flip it like this. See how it's like white around the edges? That means it's kind of cooked on that side. We've got some brown color, and I just want to kind of flip it over a little. And turn it all the way up, because it's okay to have some high heat. I'll make a new layer. Spread it out. We're going to let that cook. Let's do our beans. We're going to use Great Northern beans. Cannelini beans are great. White beans. If it says white beans, you can get dried beans. I don't think dried beans work as well with this, because you have to soak them overnight, and they never really get like smushy enough. So, smushy, a technical term. Not to make sure you drain the beans, because you don't want too much of that goopy liquid in there. Now I'm just going to rinse them off. The great thing about this is that it's really easy to make. It is something that has a lot of basic ingredients, so chicken, beans, like stuff you can keep in your pantry, in your freezer, and have at any time. And I've taken this for all kinds of occasions, whether it's work potlucks, Christmas. It's great because it feeds a lot of people, and it's great for Super Bowl. It's great for Halloween. It's great for reading when you're reading Bunnicula. We're just still cooking our chicken and waiting for our chilies to come out. So now we can start adding some things to our crock pot, because you're really going to need to cook this on high for like 5 or 6 hours. The longer you cook it, the more the beans break down and make like that gravy and make that wonderful chiliness. I'm going to add in our beans. We not only did we drain the beans, but we rinsed the beans because we don't want all that extra junk on there. I'm actually pretty good with how this chicken is cooked. You see it's got some brown around the edges because it will cook in the chili. We're just going to dump that, all that yummy chicken, and all those onions and garlic. Just going to turn it a little bit so it gets all covers in there. We're going to add in our chicken broth. Don't put too much. A lot of people want to put tons of chicken broth in here because they think it needs the juice and their crock pot is going to like burn. You don't need that because the chicken's going to continue to cook and it's going to give off some of its juices. So you'll have soup if you put too much in there. I'm going to put some salt and pepper. Maybe that much, like a teaspoon in there at the beginning. Maybe a tablespoon. Mix it up. Because remember, we put salt on the chicken too, so you don't need too much. And then maybe try it halfway through, because the chicken will be cooked by then, and see if it needs some more. but you can't really unsalt things. My mom always said, you can never put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's kind of like the salt. You know, once you say something mean about somebody, you can't put it back. Well, you could, but that would just be gross. Okay, I'm going to put the lid on it so I can get started on my chilies. Ooh, see, look at that. And that is the coolest thing that ever happened. Ooh, see how they're all charred? We are going to make something yummy out of that. So we're going to take those chilies. See how they're soft? Ooh, that's what you want. You want them to be soft and all charred on the outside. It's not real black, so I probably am just going to leave that on there. But if it's too charred for you, if you notice it's like a thin skin, you can just pull anything that's charred right off the chili like that. But I kind of like the charred. So I'm going to cut the tops off. If we cut the chili open, see how there's seeds in there? Seeds. The seeds are what make peppers spicy. So if you want to like use jalapenos and you don't want it to be super spicy, but you want a little bit of bite, open up the jalapeno and scoop out the seeds. So I actually like spicy, so I'm going to leave the seeds in. There's this Scoville unit scale thing. I'll put a link down there. Again, don't turn knives towards your face. I'm going to put a link down there and you can check it out. But you can see how hot certain peppers are and use the one that doesn't make you cry like a little girl. I'm just going to hold the end with my fork and kind of cut it into strips. You'll see how the skin is naturally just kind of falling off. I'm just going to cut it and then just chop it. And like I said, you can buy canned chilies that are really good. You can buy ones that are fiery. You can buy mild ones. They're all really good, but there's just nothing like fresh roasted chilies. When I go to sometimes I have to take you with me to my farmer's market that I go to because they have this guy that has this big round, it's like a bingo ball holder cage thing, and he puts the roasted chili or the chilies in there and just roasts them over the fire all day. And we're just going to add those right to my chili. Stir those in real good. Oh, those are my only non-white ingredient, but they're so yummy. And I'm just going to leave it. So we're going to wait on the chili. It's going to get yummy, and I'm going to go read Bunnicula, and I'll see you in a few hours. So it's actually been a little over 4 hours. I'm going to check it. That roasted pepper smell comes through, and you get the garlic, so tender, and the beans are they're not just beans in juice, they're beans that have that kind of gravy to it because the beans have broken down. Alright, so let's try it. So we have our white chili. I'm going to put a little bit of that sour cream that we mentioned earlier. You could put so many great things on here. You could do fresh onions, like some chopped onions. You could put some salsa if you like that kind of thing. I think it's great just like this. Cheddar cheese is really good, kind of sprinkled on top. But I think like what adds to it, yummy white corn tortilla chips. Kind of just put those in there so you can scoop it up and eat it like this. It's so good because you really get that heat because I left those seeds in the pepper, but you also get that just warm flavor of the chicken and all the layers that we put in there. So good. Hope you go pick up Bunnicula if you haven't read it. Enjoy that. And make my chili. Happy Halloween!